Alright, so today we're going to set up a basic pocket cut sign, and we're going to go ahead and go through the motions right now. The first thing you want to do is make sure that all of your letters and events on your artwork aren't overlapped. And you can go through a couple of them, so you can highlight them and then just press delete on a few of them, and if they all delete in a row, then you know that your stuff's not overlapped. So to bring them back, you can go ahead and Control Z until all your events are back, and you're good to go. Another way you can tell if anything is overlapped is by clicking the inside border and then pressing shift on your keypad, and then what you're going to want to go ahead and do is left click, and then drag across all of the events in the center of the art. And if everything highlights red on the outside with highlighted blue on the inside, then you know that you're in the ballpark of where you want to be. So nothing's overlapped, everything looks good. So the next thing you want to do is you want to go up and go to toolpaths, and for this job you want to go to island fill and go down on all your available tools. And since this artwork that we're doing, the outcome of it is going to be an 1.5 inch material, the deepest you want to go is 3/8 of an inch. You don't want to go any deeper. So with this, we're going to click on your regrind 1/2 inch bottom surfacing bit, and we're going to do 0.375, which is 3/8 in decimal form. And then we want a finishing tool, so we're going to go ahead and click the 1/8 inch bit. And same thing for this one, we want to set them both, or we want to set the 1/2 inch about 0.375 and your 1/8 inch bit about 374. You don't want the 1/8 inch bit cutting in too deep, it'll show impressions. So the next step you want to do is go to your edit tool, and here you can select the feed rate and the speeds. So for this, we want to do 250 for your 1/2 inch bottom surfacing bit. That will be the feed rate, and your plunge rate, well, that can determine on how fast you want it to plunge down. I usually do about 200. And then for your spindle, you want to do about 18,000 RPM, and that is set. That's for your feeds and your speeds. For your, so for your fill, it sets up as a default for 50%, but since we're running it pretty quick and we wanted to do a clean cut, we're going to do about 75 to 80% is good. And so that is set up for this one. We can go ahead and press OK. And then for the 1/8 inch end mill, we can set this one probably about 75. Nothing crazy. It's a tiny bit. Anything faster than that, it might break. So, in your plunge rate, I know the defaults are typically about 36. And then same thing for your spindle RPM. You want to set that about 18,000 RPM as well. And then you can click this little minus tab up here, and it'll set it. And you'll know once that little yellow X goes away. You can check it again and open it. And you can leave your passes the same and your depth the same, and then go ahead and press OK, and everything looks good. If you need to double check or even triple check, you can. Just make sure you set everything up properly. Press OK, and then press OK. And it's going to go ahead and load. Sometimes it takes a second depending on how big the artwork is, or sometimes you'll have to restart the computer itself or the software. That's just a given though. So there you go, the artwork is loaded, and you can see all your toolpaths and everything. So I'm going to click off of this, and then I'm going to click the outside border. And the last step, that is definitely the most important step, is to simulate your art. So you want to go to Simulate 3D. It's going to take you to the perspective page. It'll take a second to load. And the max on this is probably going to be about 35 to 40. You don't want to go any higher than that. The buffer size, the higher the buffer size, the better it'll look, but the slower the computer run. You don't want to go too high on this. So megabytes, probably, we're just going to do 26 for now to be safe. And then I'm going to set my non-cut to white. So anything that is not going to be cut will show up as whites or orange or whatever color you set it to. Go ahead and press OK. It's going to go ahead and load the template. See, there you go. I'm going to go ahead and press play. It's going to load. all the tool paths and all the cuts. You can see that they're popping up in default setting. And one thing I want to keep in mind is you want this to load and play as it is. Like, you don't want to press this rendered view first and then press play. I've done that countless times. It makes it load even slower than you want it to. So always press play, and then once it's loaded and set up, then you can go ahead and press render view. You also want to keep in mind that you want to do this every time for every single job that you render, because if you don't, it won't translate over to the multicam machine very well, and something will get cut weird, or the machine will do something different that it's not supposed to. So you want to keep that in mind. So it's loaded. We're going to go ahead and press rendered view, and there you go. You can see all the paths. So all the green is your 1/2 inch bit, and all the pink is your 1/8 inch bit. So anything that the 1/2 inch can't do, that 1/8 inch is going to get in there and clean all that up in between there. And all your white is what hasn't been cut into. So there you go. And you can exit out of this and press F12 to get out of this completely, and it'll take you back to the top view. And there you go. That's how you set up a background smooth pocket cut.